Morning, everybody. Here is the technical analysis behind my 3 open trades. Let's get started with CMCI. What you're looking at is a 3-day, 1-minute chart. Okay, went out on alert on Friday, picked up shares in through here around $1.30. You can see that it opened bullish, picked up some traction to start the session yesterday, pulled back on some profit taking, but continued the overall trend here, which is a good sign. The stock has very little liquidity, as you can see. This first went out on watch a while back. I'm going to go to a daily chart. When I flipped it, bid to ask, and at that point in time, it was 60 cents by $1.10. Even through here, there were still 75-cent bids. And I talked about that over the course of a full week. In through here, the bid and ask has tightened up. I'll go back to this 1-minute chart, 3-day. But it did close strong. You can see some buying into the close, so that's a good sign. I flipped the challenge account out right here because I don't have a lot of tolerance for the challenge account. I can only make a certain number of day trades with that account, and my goal is to build it from $7,000 to $25,000. So I took 700 plus profit here on the challenge account. Into the close, I ended up selling at 163, which would have been in through here. I had 5,000 shares on the ask at 163, and somebody ended up buying those, so that's a good sign. And I'm riding 5,000 shares into today's session. So right now, I believe I'm up about 1,800 on that first 5,000 block, and I'm hoping to get into the 160s, 170s today, but we'll play it by ear. That's the CMCI trade. We'll switch over to ANIK. This again is 3-day, 1-minute chart. We're heading into earnings on Wednesday. I'm hoping for a little bit of a run up. You can see that it's already had one trade this morning at 860, so that's not necessarily a great sign. You can see this momentum shift here. The stock picked up a slew of buying in through here, which included myself, and I'll hope that this one, spikes into the $10, $11 range. I'm not sure whether or not I'll hold into earnings, which come Wednesday after close. I'm hoping that it moves up into the $9.50 range prior to that, and I can get out. But I'll keep you updated there. So ANIK, and we'll go to the daily chart. You can see the last time they had earnings, the stock moved up in a 2-day pattern from about $8.85 all the way to $12. Okay, so a little bit of selling off I can handle heading into earnings because this was the last earnings jump here, I'm pretty sure. So check into that. You can see how it's based right here. So you have what I would consider an ascending triangle, price action that moves up nicely, and then a top resistance area in through here. Okay, trough 1, trough 2. Hopefully this will end up being trough 3, and it'll break out into or above the 11 to 12 range. That's what I'm looking for on ANIK. And EXAR, this is a Soros trade. He's been accumulating a ton of shares with their fund. Check out the news on that. Yesterday, it jumped like a bottle rocket, and I did not buy into the run. I bought the dip. I'll show you what that looks like. Here's the 1-minute chart, 3-day. All right, so here's the, let's go 5 minutes so it's a little clearer. 3-day. There we go. All right, so you see the spike, the big gap up, the spike, and then the sell-off. Anytime a stock has great news and it brings in a ton of new buyers who are just playing the momentum, it's good to shy away from that and wait till it settles so you can see what happened. The stock goes all the way up into the $7 range, pulls all the way back down. What is the low during this 5-minute session? The low is 625. I ended up grabbing shares at 631, so I pretty much timed the low perfectly. There's my entry right there. Okay, so I get in at 631 either here or here, and I'm up about $1,000 at that point. It has since pulled all the way back. I wasn't buying this one though to flip in and out of it necessarily. I figured this would make either a good flip if it really ran back into that $7 range in one day, or a short-term trade. I think it'll trade up from here, but it does need to settle after all of this crazy action. You can see the big crush of volume. So when you get into a stock like this, again, my strategy is never to buy the news. I buy the dip about 5 minutes in. All right, so you see the stock chart here. I'd say that we'd like to see it hold right about here as support, this candle and this candle. Be nice if it could hold that. I'd like to see it above here and trading back up into the 720 range. I'll probably look to sell in and around the high $6 to low $7 range when it starts to move back up. So that's my play there. But again, the lesson here is always, let's go 15-minute, 3-day. The lesson here is never buy this, buy this. Okay, and this alone was a $1,000 turn for me, there to there. Okay, but I'm going short term with this one over a couple of weeks. They have earnings coming out. I can't tell you whether or not I'll hold through the earnings, but usually if Soros is picking up shares, it's a good sign. And I like to go where the big, successful money managers are because they know usually more than we know. Okay, that's my take on EXAR. You know all of my positions. We'll play it by ear. Take it easy, everybody.